Hey guys, it's me, Karen Ashley. You know me as Aisha, the Yellow Power Ranger, and you are watching Enemy Secrets. But hey, join me next year at Ranger Stop and Pop, June 13th through the 15th in Atlanta, Georgia. It is our final year, so come and have a fun time with us. It is like a family reunion of Power Ranger fans, Power Rangers, and we're just gonna have the best time ever. It's morphin' time.
Toku Secrets is a podcast run by the Anime Secrets website. Check us out at animesecrets.org for more anime, video game, tokusatsu content. Remember to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you listen to podcasts today.
Oh, yes! This is Goldar, and you're listening to Toku Secrets Podcast. Don't tune us out, tune us in.
Welcome to Toku Secrets. Join us as we journey into the marvelous world of Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Power Rangers, and many other tokusatsu. Get ready for the adventure of a lifetime. It's Morphin' Time! Link to the Morphin'. I'm Nathan Desai, the dazzling adventurer, Smokin' Silver.
I'm Patrick Gower, and I'm Shinken Red.
And I'm Rizwan Merchant, Gokai Red.
And I'm Anthony Davis, also known as Curie Green. And we're Toku Secrets.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Toku Secrets Podcast, presented by animesecrets.org. And today, we are doing episode 7 of our review series of Chouriki Sentai Ohranger. Last time we took a look at episodes 26 through 32, and today we're taking a look at 33 through 38. I'm sorry, this is going to be kind of a bigger podcast because, for better or worse, a lot of things do happen in these episodes. We'll jump right in. So to recap, last time we got our 6th Ranger in the previous installment, where 2 people from another dimension named Ricky and Doran, they arrived on Earth in their personal spaceship from another dimension. They're members of a race that live peacefully next to the ancient civilization that created Chouriki. They were largely killed by the Baranoia 600 million years ago, but Ricky defeated them and sealed them away. They were put to sleep, but then they got revived. And now Ricky has his own Chouriki to transform into King Ranger. And he also has his own mech called King Pyramider, which can combine with the Chouriki Mobiles and Red Puncher to become King Pyramider Battle Formation, which is the Ohrangers' ultimate mech formation. So that brings us to episode 33, The 5 Robos' Greatest Riot. This is the first of a 2-part final battle with Bacchus Wrath, where we get new mechs for the main 5 Ohrangers. Bacchus Wrath reveals several previously destroyed machine beasts. He upgraded them with more power to create super machine beasts. He's going to use them to finally conquer Earth. With no hope of stopping this unless they destroy the base, creating the super machine beasts. They prepare to pull this Trojan horse type of scheme where they supposedly give the Baranoia these presents that they use to infiltrate the base, but then it turns out that those presents are actually new mechs for the Ohrangers to use called Blocker Robos. We'll talk more about the Blocker Robos in the next episode, but the Blocker Robos are giant humanoid mechs in appearance. They can wield giant versions of both the King Smashers and the weapons of their corresponding Ohrangers. The Ohrangers use the Blocker Robo, to destroy the beast where the super machine beasts are being created, and then they defeat all of the super machine beasts. And Bacchus Wrath vows that he's going to get revenge and take matters into his own hands in the next episode. We'll talk about that when we get to it. For the second straight episode, Ricky is absent from this episode. He's not seen, not mentioned. Nobody knows where he is. And there's that. What do we think about episode 33?
Why is it that these weren't even ever mentioned previously?
The Blocker Robos.
Yes.
Just kind of assume they're being built behind the scenes. That's just what I took it as.
But I kind of wish he could have hinted at it at least, but that's just my gripe.
No, and not only that, but like they had no like need for them, really. I mean, cool, we have new robos, sell more toys, Japan, but they could have done something interesting. At least with Zio, we did something interesting for them to appear.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
I mean, I feel like they're a bit more useful compared to the Chouriki mobiles because
Mm-hmm.
there's not much that I think the Chouriki mobiles can do individually. These mechs can fight by themselves. So I feel like maybe that was the idea that my little headcanon, I guess, could say that that's what Miura probably was thinking. But okay, but about the episode itself, I feel like this is ultimately a harmless type of episode because like it does kind of get back to like that old gritty feel that the older episodes have, where
Yeah.
Bacchus Wrath makes a speech and then he attacks a hospital, but then the O-Rangers come in to save the day, and they try to come up with a more like militaristic, like strategic way to outsmart the Baranoia Empire. Like there's some good moments here, and honestly, I can't even think of a way on how you could have made like one O-Ranger character the main focus here. So I feel like this episode is actually probably one of the better ones of the series. It's
Yeah,
not an
like
episode, but it's fine.
yeah, like regardless of what we thought of those like first 7 episodes or whatever, I do think Ohranger was at its best when it was trying to be gritty, not just off of the tone, but because the established, I guess, like method of or whatever the goals of the Baranoia was, the gritty tone just worked with the season so well. And getting back to it, I really did like how this episode felt.
Yeah. And that's why I'd probably give this one a 7, actually, because nothing great about it, but it's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it goes back to its old original concept a little bit, and it's still not perfect, but at least it's better than what we've gotten in some cases.
Yeah, my thoughts are, episode's all right. Nothing super annoying. I don't like that these machine things, like the really ugly Zeo mechs that I never liked to begin with.
Oh,
Yeah, that they just kind of are given to them with no like, they didn't really earn them. They're just kind of there.
yeah.
Yo,
So
I actually owned those Super Zeo Zords when I was younger, back in the day.
But I do want to
they're still ugly.
go. I still want to go
I
back
mean,
to
that's
that thing
fine
you
if you
mentioned
think so. I
about.
just think they're okay.
I still
You
want to
still
bring
want what, Patrick?
I still want to bring up Ricky because they established that him and Bacchus Wrath had a history. Why the heck isn't he in this two-parter?
That's what I'm saying.
Like the
Yeah,
Earth is
I
being
mean-
attacked. It's almost like a full-scale invasion. He just doesn't show up. Where the fuck is he?
Yeah,
He's-
Ricky, you're supposed to be protecting Doran. Well, I have a feeling that Bacchus Wrath being on the loose is a threat to her life. Why aren't you here?
Like they use a little girl's excuse, the reason why he can't appear in that episode. But I'm like, he's actively being a threat to everything. If they destroy the Old Rangers, guess who's gonna be next on chopping block? You.
Mhm.
Yeah. But Riz, what did you want to give the first one out of 10?
a 5.
And Anthony?
I'll get a 5 too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, now we
because
can.
if they had just like done something to earn these Super Zeo Zords, I've been more okay with it. But as it were, they're just given these Zords kind of in the same way to Ghost is like, oh hey, you didn't earn these power-ups, but here's some new power-ups for you. You can just go do a thing now.
Yeah.
So no, I didn't like it in Megaforce. I don't like it here. I don't like it in Zeo.
I think context matters because this is a more militaristic one. You kind of just assume stuff's getting built in the background, so I can kind of waive it a little bit.
No, but like make it matter. Like say like, hey,
Oh,
your
no.
old mechs are no longer usable. Like
Yeah,
say
like
that
if
didn't
like if they
There-
took Ohranger Robo against him and that thing just got stomped.
right.
That would have actually they didn't do it in
Yeah.
either series. And it kind of annoyed me in
Mhm.
Zeal, but at least it makes sense in Zeal. But but then show us how they would have lost.
Yeah, like
Mhm.
if Ohranger Robo was that weak against it, like okay, Patrick, what you're saying is the best case scenario. Like, hey, have them fight
Mhm.
and have him lose.
Mhm.
I would have accepted a throwaway line like, hey, this thing that you're coding these new robo monsters in is of some kind of alloy that you can't really, beat. And
Mhm.
hey, here's these Super Zero Zords that are made of the same alloy and they can beat them.
Yeah.
That would have made sense.
Yeah, I
At
agree.
least show us them losing at least beforehand. That way we
And I
can be
mean,
like, oh snap, they're getting
and then they're,
And
they're
honestly, the more
super.
you say that, Riz, I kind of feel like I was only thinking, especially with how the next episode goes, and I'll go into more detail when we get to that, that this final battle with Bacchus Wrath should have been 3 parts. But honestly, the more I think about it, it should have been a 4 part. Like you should have had one episode where Bacchus Wrath unveils these super machine beasts, and they come and they completely wreck O Ranger Robo, and then you get this and then you can have this episode that debuts the blocker robos as a way to counter these new super machine beasts. And then I'll talk about how the other 2 episodes should have been handled when we get into the next episode. But yeah,
Mhm.
there should have been one episode where the super machine beasts show up, they completely wreck Go Ranger Robo, and that necessitates Mura to unveil these blocker robos.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, it's just silly to me that we could have done something more relevant to the plot other than, oh, hey, let's have like 20 episodes of filler that don't mean a damn thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, they could have done something very interesting here, and they didn't. And it, they just needed like a little throwaway line saying, hey, you can't beat it with this stuff because your metal alloy is not strong enough or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's either that or involve Ricky and give him his own 6 Ranger blocker robo because that Pyramidas robo thing is kind of ugly.
Yeah.
Shame about the writers forgetting him.
I don't
Yeah.
think they forgot him. I just don't think they wanted him.
Why not? He had a history with Bacchus Wrath. Those two knew each other on a first name basis.
That means that they know how to write a story.
Yeah.
You know, would have actually made they could have wrote him in this episode. Have him be at the hospital while the other Rangers were like, doing their thing with the OhBlockers.
You know what I would have accepted, guys, for Ricky? I would have accepted a lot of excuses for him, including he's at home drinking chicken soup because he has a cold.
That would have been a very
mean-
Zio explanation.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
but, like,
again, like at least with Zio, and I know that technically they didn't adapt this portion of the Zio episode, they adapted more of the next episode, but at least with Zio, there's an excuse as to why Jason can't show up to these Megazord fights because Pyramidas was damaged. At least Zio tries to give an explanation. They don't even try to explain why Ricky isn't here.
yeah.
That's so annoying. Like, couldn't you have at least just kind of said that maybe you could have at least like again, this is how how another episode could be used where not only do these super machine beasts completely wreck Go Ranger Robo, but you could also have them critically damage King Pyramider, and maybe Doran gets hurt, and that necessitates Ricky having to be away from the gang to take care of Doran. Like, okay, that wouldn't have been a great explanation, but it would have been something. Like they needed another episode to establish these super machine beasts
Yes.
Yeah.
before bringing in the blocker robos.
Yeah, so I mean, and that's why I'm kind of saying this is like a 4 or something.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
the more we
okay,
talk about
fair
this,
enough.
the more we talk about this, the more I'll give you that.
Yeah. But next up, we have episode 34, The Emperor's Final Challenge, which is the final of his two-part episode with Bacchus Wrath, where a meteor crashes on Earth in the Baranoia's base, and it's revealed, and from it emerges this powerful sword that Bacchus Wrath takes up. He takes on this final form in which he gains wings on his back, and he vows that he's going to destroy the O'Rangers himself. The only way that they can defeat Bacchus Wrath is by combining their blocker robos, but they have to read a transcendent state of mind. The O'Rangers fail the training at first, but then they are able to achieve their mindset, the state of mind after they get inspired by this supporting character named Mikio. And then they pass their training and they're able to confront Bacchus Wrath, and they combine their blocker robos to form OhBlocker. That's the Super Zeo Megazord for all you Power Rangers fans out there. Let's movie class. What do we think about OhBlocker?
I love this thing, to be honest. I know Riz was just trashing it, but I love this thing.
Yeah.
It's ugly.
Especially its combination sequence, like the angle looking up at as they like stack on top of each other. That's so cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I like the swords too.
Yeah, dual wields. Dual wield is crazy good.
I like the swords. I like parts of it. I just think they could have combined it in a different way.
I personally say this is probably my favorite mech from this entire series because
it has no competition.
Shit.
Yeah, it
Right.
From
yeah
this,
it has
from this Sentai or from all Sentai?
from this Sentai.
Okay, good.
Oh yeah, yeah. It probably wouldn't even crack the top 15 if I was doing all of Sentai, but
Right, that sounds like
like
whoa, hold up.
yeah, yeah. It's got a unique look to it, I would say. Now, if I'm talking about like secondary mech, so maybe I'm comparing this to like VRV Robo from Car Ranger or the Mega Voyager from Mega Ranger. This would probably be, I mean, it could probably be in the top 15 if we're talking about like the secondary mechs, but by itself, I mean, it's decent looking. Like it looks like a much cooler mech compared to Ohranger Robo.
Yeah, it's not beating the Mega Voyager.
You know-
the Mega Voyager is amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I'll give you that, Nate. I think this is better than Ohranger Robo. I couldn't even get it out of my mouth.
Yeah.
I think it's better than that, better than the Pyramid, better than the Punching Guy.
Yeah.
So it is probably the best looking mech, but I think it has like some, I don't know, like it just.
It doesn't appeal to you. That's all you gotta say. It just doesn't appeal to you.
It doesn't appeal to me, but I think it's because I'm looking at a photo of it right now, and I think it's that star in the middle that bugs me.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Do something different there. Like maybe if they had like put like the cockpit down there and they were like, able to see the Rangers through the cockpit in that star. Been kind of cool.
Actually, yeah, that would have been a lot better of a place to put the cockpit because they when it's formed, we're shown that the cockpit is actually in the head where the eyes are. So yeah, that's definitely a good point.
Ironically, Dyreno, so cockpit was in the middle.
Yep.
And it worked
it was
really well. So
yeah. But anyway, with OhBlocker, the O'Rangers, they overpower Bacchus Wrath and they successfully defeat him. And spoiler alert, guys, even though King Mondo came back in Power Ranger Zeo, here's a bit of a spoiler: Bacchus Wrath ain't coming back. But Miura warns the O'Rangers that a bigger threat awaits them, and Bulldog vows that he will avenge the death of his father. And we kind of already established this here, but yeah, Ricky is also absent from this episode as well. What do we think about episode 34?
Me first,
I
me
have-
first, me first, me first.
Okay,
Go ahead.
for it.
I hate this episode.
Yeah,
Me too.
I was
Because-
gonna say the
Nope.
sword storyline is stupid as crap.
I know.
I don't understand the swords. I think that was stupid. I think it's
Like-
I think it's
and-
also stupid that Bacchus Wrath is defeated so easily here.
Yeah.
He's the king of the Messine Empire. And they just make jump stands out of him because they got a new mech.
Yeah, like Nate said, they should have extended this to like a 4-parter to give him like a victory in some capacity to establish his strength.
Yeah, but it just proves that these guys are not even that big of a challenge. And
Mm-mm.
spoilers, they don't really regain that dominance.
Like, okay, here's what you should have done to structure this better. You should have had, okay, so we just established that the Super Machine Beasts have their 2 episodes, and then you lead into the next episode where instead of just having one of the O-Rangers go after Bacchus Wrath, which in this case was Yuji, have all 5 of the O-Rangers attempt to go after Bacchus Wrath and the Blocker Robos. Then they get beaten really badly, and that's when Miura says the only way that you can defeat Bacchus Wrath is if you undergo this training. But instead of having the training only last for like 5 minutes in one episode, have the rest of that episode show them going through the training, and we're shown that it's very intense because now you have an entire episode's length of time to show us what that training is, to show all the grittiness that they go through, like all of the sweat that they go through in order to achieve that moment, and then have the climax of this episode after, and then move to a next episode where then you get the climax where they're able to form OhBlocker and defeat Bacchus Wrath, because at least then you showed how strong Bacchus Wrath was because he defeated them at first, and then we see all of the tough like sweat and like dirt that they have to go through just to be able to beat him.
Mm-hmm.
And that would have made that far more satisfying.
Yeah, because the way they handled the whole enter a new stage of enlightenment or whatever the crap he tried to say, this is how it went. Break these helmets in half. Fail once, run to help a kid who stupidly ran into a heat of enemies. They got inspired by his recklessness, run back and immediately do it.
Yeah.
What? What a stupid subplot that was.
And then the way it ended too, like, okay, Bulldog vowing he's going to get revenge on his father, great, that's fine. But first of all, Miura is telling them that they have an even grander battle. How would he know what's going to happen? Because, I mean, they don't know, because, I mean, Bulldog's just a kid, so surely they're not going to think that Bulldog is a threat. And I know that somebody else is going to take over in the next episode, but they don't know anything about that guy.
I know.
So
Why didn't they celebrate this more? Like they're like, okay, well, the the Baranoia army's not gone, but Bacchus Wrath is. That's a huge
exactly.
blow. But they were like,
they
they didn't seem like
it's not even. Go ahead.
they didn't seem like they gave a crap.
Yeah, there was not nearly as much gravitas given to that moment as they
No.
really should. Like, at least with the Zeo, like, you had that final scene where they're all like, King Mondo's history, the Machine Empire's done, we really won. Then it immediately cuts to a whole scene of, like, Rita and Zed being like, hey, yeah, now we can take over because the Machine Empire's gone, which, I mean, that ends up not going anywhere. But at least in Zeo, there was a little bit of a celebration that they just beat King Mondo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'd been better to do that. Spring and Rita and Zed call it a day. Make the season better.
Into Ohranger.
Exactly. And again, if the fact that Ricky was absent for a final battle with the main villain isn't a statement on how pointless of a character he is, I don't know what is. Again, like, why is Ricky not here? Writers, did you just forget that he exists? Like,
Yes,
come on. So yeah, this is. I originally gave it I was originally thinking of 4, but the more I think about it and how badly like executed this whole story arc is, I'm thinking of like a 2, just because that everything is just so rushed, and they can't even give us a proper ending.
Mhm.
With the gravitas of the fact that they just beat the main villain. Like, this is a horrible episode.
Like it on its own is bad, but I do want to give it a little bit of brownie points because it does lead into my favorite thing this season does.
Yeah.
So I'll give
Okay,
it a
fair enough.
3 because I mean, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's my favorite thing the season does, so I want to give it some brownie points. It's
Yeah.
still a 3 though, but
It's a decent 3. Yeah, I'll give it a 3 as well.
It gets a 1 and you're going to live with it.
no, I understand it.
Yeah, fair enough.
For as monumental as an episode as this is, why was it so ass?
Yeah. Next up, we have episode 35, The Radical Bomb Guy. This is the debut of a new villain where a new villain shows up. His name is Bomber the Great. For Zeo fans out there, this is Louis Kaboom. He's a former Paranoia general. He once tried to overthrow Bacchus Wrath, but he failed and escaped. And then he heard about Bacchus Wrath's death, and now he's come to take over as the new emperor. He assumes leadership of the Paranoia. Acha and Kocha swear loyalty to him. And Hysteria and Bulldot, they're just kind of in the shadows where they're there, but they're secretly planning to kind of kill Bomber when they get the chance so that they can retake power. So, so we pretty much have a massive villain power struggle on our now, guys. And once again, Ricky is at big plot defining episode, and Ricky is still nowhere to be seen. My God.
Ricky fell asleep again and he can't wake up.
Yeah.
So somebody set on an alarm clock.
I think it's that sleeping monster from the last batch.
Oh shoot, we forgot to wake him up.
Yeah.
Actually, wait, has he even appeared since that episode where that sleeping monster put them to sleep? Because that might actually unironically be the explanation. The more I think about it.
Can we double check that real quick? Because I think that's really funny.
Yeah, someone double check that.
Yeah, but-
I'm looking. Hang on.
Yeah, but in the meantime, what do we think about episode 36? No, 35, sorry.
I like the dynamic he brings, but I don't like Bomber the Great.
No.
I don't like Bomber the Great at all.
He is irritating. That's why I'm so glad he doesn't last long.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, what is it that you don't like about him, just out of curiosity?
I mean, how did he find out so quick? And why did he think that he could just, barge his way in? Like, he feels unnecessary. Like, couldn't they have just had Hysteria and Bolton wait around before the big moment happens later? Why did they have to put this guy in here?
Well, I think you could have better handled the power struggle story is, we brought up how we kind of wish that mad scientist character, Kuroda, kind of became like a permanent villain, and he becomes like a main general. So you could you could introduce like some new guy as like a challenger, maybe have Bomber the Great be there, but then you could also have Kuroda, who's now like a permanent general, like maybe he's trying to assume power as well. Or you could just have Kuroda do it and not have to worry about Bomber the Great at all. Like you definitely needed to have like a pre-established general character there who's trying to fill in the void now that Bacchus Wrath is dead.
Yeah.
Okay, so on the note of the sleeping monster, technically, Ricky's there in episode 31, the home delivery diet. But because I hate that episode and I want to forget it ever happened, Ricky has been asleep since episode 30.
Okay, then yeah, that's a good explanation.
So you're starting to understand why, through podcasts in the past, we keep talking about Ricky being the most useless Sixth Ranger. This is what we're talking about. Why is he even in this season if he's not going to freaking show up in half the episodes?
Yeah.
Because he's going to do something grand at the end.
Surprisingly, no.
Surprisingly, no.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, Riz, that's true.
Damn.
But yeah, honestly, like this dynamic thing, like this is probably the one thing that I actually remember happening in Ohranger that I really like because this might actually be one of my favorite villain power struggle stories. Now, it doesn't have the same like I feel like the Vyram handled it a whole lot better because it was like a season-long
Oh, yeah.
thing.
Mhm.
But with the Vyram, it's more that there was never any boss and it was always just 4 people competing for it here. This is
Mhm.
more of a matter of there was a boss, he got killed, and now the organization is kind of in chaos because there's no leader.
Mhm.
And that to me can make even some of the most otherwise boring villain organizations actually a little bit more interesting because it's one of the reasons why I also kind of like Lightspeed Rescue. I know Linkara criticized the Lightspeed Rescue villains, but I actually thought that like they were a bit more interesting trying to function after Diabolico dies and there
Yeah.
being like this power struggle between Loki and Vipra versus Olympius. And it's the
Yeah.
same
Exactly.
thing
Yep.
here where and it's the same thing here where it's like Bacchus Wrath is dead. And I mean, first of all, it's making Buldont out to be more of a interesting character because he's not just some little kid who's just whining. Like he actually tries to straight up take action against the Ohrangers in this episode by shooting a bunch
Mhm.
of missiles. So
Yeah.
he's actually kind of coming into his own as a great character. And sure, Bomber the Great himself isn't a great character, but
The
it is kind
concept
of
of he's
setting
good.
up
His yeah.
what's going to happen with Buldont.
Mhm.
So
And
I can give it credit for that.
yeah, I'll agree with that because it bouncing off the thing I said about Bacchus Wrath dying, this is setting up to what is my favorite thing this season does. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah, and Riz, I think even you might have actually mentioned that there were some people that you were listening to a podcast of them reviewing this where they said they really liked this power struggle type of story. And I mean, that's actually 100% true but I'm curious, like, what you think about this new dynamic.
I think if the bomber guy was more interesting, this would be a lot more fun.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But I I kind of wish that they either had a pre-established general and he was trying to take over, or kind of like I don't know, give us a villain, kind of like what Deviant was in Lost Galaxy, like someone who pretended to be loyal to Bacchus Wrath, but was never actually loyal, and then he tries to take over, and that's when Buldont and Hysteria are all like, "Oh my God, you backstabber!" and they're trying to find a
Yeah.
way to like that would have been a
Oh,
lot more of an
I have
interesting dynamic.
I have a way to make this work already. Bomber the Great was here from the beginning, and he was basically Bacchus Wrath's Starscream.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that would have definitely been very good.
That would have worked a whole lot better.
Because I could see him fitting into that Starscream dynamic with Megatron perfectly with Bacchus Wrath.
Yep.
Hey, whoever that guy that Riz keeps mentioning who was rewriting Ohranger, note that down. Write that down.
Yeah.
You know who it is, don't you?
Do I?
Yeah.
No, I don't. Yeah, I probably
It's
have an
Aka
idea,
Eagle.
but is it?
Aka
Okay.
Eagle, yeah.
Okay. I had a feeling, but I'd never gotten any confirmation. Yeah, write that down.
Mhm.
That's actually a good idea. Like,
And then give
genuinely.
Patrick credit for it if you do it.
Yes. Continue to give us all credit for the ideas we're giving you and you're using in your story.
Yeah. But what do we want to give it out of 10?
5.
I'm gonna give it a 5 as well.
5.
I think 5 is appropriate. Okay, let's move on to the next episode 36, a direct hit with flatulence, where the Ohrangers face off against the latest machine beast from Bomber the Great. He threatens to atomize the world with his powerful gas. We once again get another mech that just comes completely out of nowhere called Tackle Boy. This was called the Warrior Wheel in Zeo. It's a support mech. It's not piloted. It's just kind of a remote mech. It can transform into between a wheel and a warrior mode and be tossed at enemies in wheel mode by OhBlocker like a bowling ball. I mean, yeah.
What
First of all, what do we think
is
about Tackle
up
Boy?
with the wheels in this season? Why are there so many wheel themed stuff in this season when it's not even like a car themed season?
Yeah, the Car Rangers looking over in the next season over like, hey, stop that.
This also
Also,
looks
yeah.
really similar to the one we have in Go On, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
but
does.
at least Skill Rotor GT had some cool gimmick by allowing the engines to fight alongside them. Like this Warrior
Yeah.
Wheel thing is just completely point. Well,
Also,
okay, Tackle Boy, but it's still pointless.
so also speaking of that other wheel, hamster wheel thingy that they introduced earlier, what the heck happened to that thing?
It
It's
became
gone.
this.
Reduced
They-
to atoms.
I don't know, like, what did they use it once?
Yeah.
I just forgot
when
that thing
they
existed.
stop using it again?
Like I think around the time that they got the Ole bazooka.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean the Tackle Boy thing is just kind of like it's not my favorite boy mech. That would probably be it would either be Liner Boy from Go-Go 5 or Tetra Boy from Jetman. This is just kind of a like C tier mech, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do we think about episode 36?
Yeah. I have nothing to say.
I personally could not stand this episode because it's like it has it. I mean, first of all, there's a bunch of dumb fart jokes, and I hate that. They try to, especially since they're not even funny, they try to jam in some environmental message with, the trash thing. And then, oh, all of a sudden, Ricky and Doran show up. Like, they show up and be like, hey, guys, we're going to help you clean up the trash. And if I was the Rangers, it's all like, bro, we just had to fight Bacchus Wrath. And then this Bomber the Red guy shows up. Where you been, man? Where you been? And
It
then all of a
reminds me.
sudden,
I'm sorry, I didn't
go
cut you
ahead.
off, Nate, but like it
No, go
reminds
ahead.
me of like of that. Did you ever get that video I sent to you, or I don't know if it sent to you or somebody else? It was of that one dude who was like talking crap to his teacher or whatever, and he was like, "Where was you when I needed you?" N word, like I can't say the N word because but that's what he said.
Yeah. And Ricky,
Like he was
and
legit angry, like he wasn't there. That's like, that's how we're all feeling right now.
yeah, and to go off of that, Ricky is not reacting at all to Bomber the Great being there. He's just going along with it, like he already knew that Bomber the Great was there, even though he wasn't there. Like, to kind of, I mean, this, it's fitting that this episode is all about trying to like get rid of trash because this episode's a mess. And yeah, I did just try to pull one of Riz's dad jokes, and I really don't care. That's how bad this episode is.
It didn't work.
Yeah, I know.
But also, can I just say that it's ironic that Ricky comes back after being asleep from the sleep monster, and he comes back in an episode all about flatulence, and I think the flatulence woke him up.
Oh,
why it's stinking here?
Well, this episode does stink, so it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Hey, Ricky,
And
you missed a
you know
lot."
you already know how I hate farts. So that this is also gonna be a low score for me. I'm not even care anymore because I hate fart jokes in stuff. I'm sorry, I do not like them.
The only time Sentai's done a fart joke that I was actually okay with was that of one Judenchi.
Yeah, that was pretty funny in Kyoryuger.
Yeah, just because I thought the idea of a fart cannon was just too stupid to not love.
Yeah.
Although I will give the fart joke more cadence on another story, even though it's not even Sentai related, it's anime related. It's Naruto. I keep them saying this. Yeah, Naruto did the fart thing better because it actually thematically made sense story wise.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm giving this episode a 3. Like
Yeah.
it's bad. It's bad.
I'm
Yeah.
giving it a 2, and I'm not gonna change my mind. I'm sorry.
Understandable.
Nobody's asking you.
I see you're a 3 and you're puny 2, and I raise you a 1.
Fair enough. What
Can
about
we
you,
go?
Patrick?
Can we go lower?
Can we get to the
Yes.
negatives?
I'm gonna give it a
Yeah.
0.5 if you try.
We're gonna make this a review limbo. How low can you go? Yeah, I would give it a 2.
Yeah.
Cool.
Ironically, because number 2, fart joke,
Oh, yeah.
laugh.
Oh God.
What
Laugh.
does number 2 work for? What
That
does
was
number
good.
2 work for?
Oh man. Anyway, let's move on to episode 37. I am Gunmajin. Oh my god, we gotta deal with this character now.
Why is this character
It-
even in this show?
Yeah. This is the first 2-part episode of a character called Gunmajin. There's this kid named Satoru. He's a big fan of the Rangers, and he discovers this key in a mysterious statue. And when he uses the key, it transforms into a giant robot-like figure who calls himself Gunmajin. This character was Auric the Conqueror in Zeo. You know that character that only appeared in 3 episodes of Zeo? Oh, you don't? Well, okay, that's who he is. Yeah, he didn't really appear in Zeo that much. Like he appears much more here than he does in Zeo. But yeah, so he uses Gunmajin to beat up 2 boys who were bullying him, and then he makes this wish to ride OhBlocker. And Gunmajin captures Eugene in an attempt to get OhBlocker. He refuses to listen to Satoru when he tries to call him off, and then it quickly kind of devolves into a fight where Gunmajin tries to capture OhBlocker in the middle of a fight, and Bomber the Great tries to go after Satoru so he can get Gunmajin's key for himself. What do we think about episode 37?
I mean, it's all right.
It's alright.
I'm mostly judging this episode by how pointless I think Gunmajin is. I don't care.
Did they even try to give a story on like where this statue and key even came
No.
from to begin with?
Even freaking Ricky knew of him, but he didn't know where he came from, how he was created. He's like, I don't know if he's a machine. I don't know if he's human. I don't know. That's literally what he said in the episode.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this episode in and of itself is all that bad, but at the same time, like, I remember when I was doing those like when I was making my like extra ranger like ranking with memes video for the blog ranger, like I literally used the clip of the guy saying who for Gunmajin, and one of the reasons why is because I literally forgot that guy existed for a long time. Like I was literally going on Ranger Wiki to like make sure I didn't miss anyone, and then Gunmajin showed up, and I literally said, "Wait, who? Oh yeah, the statue guy from Ohranger. Yeah, what what big of an impression that guy left on me." So yeah, I'd probably give this one a 5.
4.
I give it a 5. I give it a 5 too.
I'll go with a 5.
They only give it a 5. You know what I'm getting a 5 for? Because
What's that?
I did laugh my ass off when those bullies got the just desserts from that kid. I'm sorry.
Actually, yeah, it was pretty amusing.
I was gonna give this a 6.
That's fair.
Okay, the final episode of this batch, it's Tough being a Majin, which is this last part of his 2-part Gunmajin debut, where Bomber the Great takes the key, but Gunmajin refuses to his wish, claiming that it doesn't interest him. And then Bulldog gets the key and tries to trick Gunmajin into battling the Rangers by making a wish to ride an OhBlocker. Gunmajin realizes that he's been tricked when Satoru gets injured, and he turns on the paranoia. He destroys the latest machine beast and sends Bulldog flying away. And in the midst of the fight, the key gets sent flying away into the unknown, and Gunmajin reverts back to his statue form. he bids Satoru farewell before he vanishes. One other thing to note is that Bara Police, the machine beast of the day of this episode, never got adapted in Zeo. They did take his head and recolor it and use it for this suit of a Power Rangers exclusive monster called Electro Tramp in the episode Shell Shocked Power Rangers in Space, the monster that gets destroyed by the Ninja Turtles of all things.
Yeah.
And they
What a
also took
fate.
his left arm. What was that?
I say, what a fate.
Yeah.
We got you did get into Power Rangers some way. Oh, what happened to being killed by the Ninja Turtles? What?
What? Oh,
Yeah.
wait, no, wait. Was it the Cool Ninja Turtles from the early 1990s movie? No, it was the one from the crappy cartoon that came, like that crappy TV show that came out. Like what was it? The live action one with that fifth turtle? Dang it!
Yeah. None. Couldn't even be in one of the good Ninja Turtle series, like
Yeah,
the
no.
90s or the 2003 series.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, and they apparently also used this Machine Beast's left arm for one of the Mutorgs in the Wild Force Time Force Team Up episode. At least that's what it said in the Ranger Wiki. But yeah, what do we think about this episode?
I don't
It
give a
gets-
crap.
It gets complicated with all the things they did in this episode.
Yeah, and I mean,
Mhm.
here's the thing: they're gonna have Gunmajin appear again. Spoiler. So why would you have the episode with him just disappearing? Like, couldn't you have at least like? I mean, I don't know what the dynamic is going to be after this, but like, at least I can't remember. But like, wouldn't it have made more sense to like, hint that Gunmajin is going to be seen again instead of having it end as if it's going to look like he's going to be a one-off character? Although oddly enough, it's still not nearly as complicated as the Zeo episode, where okay, we have Tanya's parents. They've been on this desert island for what would probably have had to have been 10 years because they left Tanya when she was like a kid. And yet, even though they've been on this island for 10 years, they look remarkably healthy and clean, despite the fact that
Yeah.
they would have been stranded on a place where they probably would have been starving and would have been dirty. Aisha somehow has a key that she sends to Tanya that she's only just now decided to send to her. And Tanya is all of a sudden just now wondering where her parents are, despite the fact that we've never seen anything implying what happened to her parents in previous episodes. Oryx the Conqueror just blindly believes the Machine Empire, saying that the Power Rangers are real, yet he somehow also knows who Zordon is. So wouldn't you know that the Machine Empire is evil? So why would you believe them? Like, that is the worst episode of Zeo, which is saying a lot because Zeo wasn't really that great of a series. But that episode that debuts Oryx the Conqueror is probably one of the worst episodes in the entire franchise. I hate that episode. Like hate, double hate, loathe entirely.
No. Hate. No.
Yeah.
But as for this episode, I mean, it's just another bad one. Like, it's not bad, just. But again, it just. I mean, Gunmajin, he's a pointless character, but he's not bad enough to where you hate him. It's just, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, he's.
Use your aggressive feelings, boy. Let the hate flow through you.
Zap.
Yes. Thank you, Emperor Palpatine. But yeah, I'm probably just thinking of 5 for this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go to 5.
And Anthony?
I'll get a 5 too.
Okay. Is there any other additional thoughts we want to give before we wrap this one up then, guys?
Patrick went out.
Well, good news for you, though, Patrick, because here's the good news, ladies and gentlemen. We only got 10 more episodes left of Ohranger, 2 more
Thank
podcasts,
God.
and then we are completely done, and we can wash our hands clean of this whole series. So we are getting
Can't
very
come
close to
soon
the
enough.
end. And when we return next time, we will be reviewing everything up to episode 44, which is just before the endgame arc. So we got 2 more podcasts. We got every episode leading up to the endgame arc. Then we're going to do an entire podcast based on the endgame arc. And then we are going to be done with Ohranger, and we can move on to a lot more of the good stuff. And we hope you guys will join us for all that good stuff. But until then, bye for now. If you enjoyed listening to the Toku Secrets podcast, please check us out at animesecrets.org and follow us on all our social media pages such as Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And also feel free to check out our other podcasts, including Anime Declassified and the Jedi Squadron. You can also leave us any feedback you'd like to offer us directly on our website. If you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes, we thank you so much, and please leave us a rating out of 5 stars. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel if you're not already subscribed, and leave any comments down below, as we love to take the time to read comments left on our channel and give our fans, shout-outs. If you have any seasons of Super Sentai, Power Rangers, or other tokusatsu shows that you'd like for us to check out, please don't hesitate to say so in your feedback. With all that said, we thank you so much for taking the time to listen to our podcast, and we will see you next time as we continue our never-ending journey through the world of tokusatsu. But until that time, you all stay safe, we love you, and may the power protect you.